Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, July the 28th, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The Ministry of Education said it is currently engaged in the process of reviewing the preliminary results of the 2020 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment CPE examination with assistance from the Caribbean Examinations Council. It said the established policy guideline relating to these examinations provides an opportunity for students to query their grades. According to the ministry, investigations into reported discrepancies have revealed that the errors discovered relates to the internal component of the assessment that is locally generated, and that the Caribbean Examination Council is in no way responsible for the identified discrepancies. The ministry said it will continue to work in the interest of all stakeholders and regrets any inconvenience caused as a consequence of its due diligence exercise. Information sharing, testing, and protocols for COVID-19 are some areas that CARICOM countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, have been urged to work on as a unit if they are to properly manage the virus in the region. This was pointed out by CARICOM Chair Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves during a virtual conference by the CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security under the theme Securing Our Caribbean Community Within the Era of COVID-19 and Beyond. PM Gonsalves said that all member countries should be on the same page as intra-regional travel recommences.
To do contact tracing, and the information has to be shared between a number of different people. You will have problems when information is shared here or there. They have to be shared with immigration. They have to be shared with the police. And sometimes you may not have the best information network. But it doesn't mean that you don't have a good one. Things are going to go awry in the nature of life, living, and production. And day by day, you're tightening it. You're making it better, making it more perfect.
There is a CARICOM travel bubble which includes most member states, which will take effect on August 1st. PM Gonsalves said that in light of the threat of COVID-19 to the region's development, it is important to have standard protocols for all member states.
When the United Kingdom is satisfied that all the countries in the Eastern Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago, that if you come here and you go back, you don't have to quarantine to the United Kingdom. So if the United Kingdom could do that, why can't I do that if a man comes from St. George's, or if a man comes, Keith, from Kingston or Sion Hill? And that's how we have to, but we all have to make sure we have this, a more or less common set of protocols, and we do verifications with one another, and our professionals work with one another. And once we do that, I think we're going to be all right.
The Prime Minister reminded his CARICOM colleagues that COVID-19 will be in the region for some time, and citizens will have to learn to live with the virus and the new protocols which will help to stem the spread of the virus.
We are going to have cases. The only way you're not going to have cases is if you do like Kim Jong-un. You by the Chinese border, a fella comes across, you shoot them and you kill them. That's the only way you ain't going to have any coming in. I mean, that is a different kind of a way of doing it. But I see me and the Secretary General laughing. The point is this. We have to educate our population to understand that there will be cases. Is how we manage those cases. And we have to have our professionals working together and transmitting the information.
SVG yesterday received a donation of personal protective equipment, which include face shields, goggles, masks, respirators, and gowns from the Government of Canada via the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. The items were delivered by a Royal Caribbean aircraft and represent a contribution by the Canadian government to SVG to help with its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The shipment weighed 14,000 pounds at a value of over 600,000 EC dollars. On hand to receive the items at the Agal International Airport were Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment Luke Brown, and PAHO Country Program Specialist Nicole Slack-Leiberg. The Cuban drug interferon has not yet been used on persons who contacted COVID-19 here in SVG. So says Health Minister Luke Brown during an interactive radio program on Star FM last evening. Brown said 50 doses of the interferon drug were procured and arrived from Cuba last month. The drug interferon reportedly strengthens the immune system of a person to fight off the coronavirus. Minister Brown said all of SVG's cases have been mild cases, hence they did not require to be hospitalized or have the drug administered.
The trials, there were some good indications with coming out of interferon, and based on those results, we decided that it was important and useful for us to get some supplies of that particular drug. Naturally, we haven't really had the need or the opportunity to use it because of the fact that, you know, we have not been dealing with severe cases. They've only been mild cases, basically. That is in fact a blessing. So that's the state of the situation with respect to interferon.
Not every business idea is successful, and Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Camilo Gonzalez, said the government's Promoting Youth to Microenterprises Prime program is designed to empower young entrepreneurs and not saddle them with debt. Speaking on WFM's Issues at Hand program on Sunday, Minister Gonzalez highlighted the benefits of the program, noting data collection is an important activity to determine its success.
I, as a minister and a ministry, is very, very focused on data gathering. We're very focused on being able to measure the impact of what it is we're doing. Beyond the anecdotes, beyond somebody saying, yeah, you know, Rodney got a grant and did really well with it and so on. We want data. So we have officers specifically engaged in the Prime Secretariat. The ones who help you set up your business, the one who give you your initial grant, they're charged with following your business through. So we'll have an evaluation where they are in 6 months, where they are in 12 months, or where they are 5 years later.
Okay.
And we will be able to see, we'll be able to pull data out of that about how many people, what types of businesses are more likely to succeed, what types of applicants are more likely to succeed, which ones need more help. Whether it's remedial help or whether it's high-level help in making their business a success.
Minister Gonzalez said though some persons have criticized the timing of the program, to him it couldn't have come at a better time, as it will help to test the business ideas of the recipients.
COVID and private sector places aren't hiring. They're naturally very cautious. You would have an even greater demand on the social services of this country. You'd have an even greater potential for unrest and mistrust of institutions in the country. So it's precisely at the time when there's a greater danger to young people and young entrepreneurs and fragile businesses that you inject this money into their business. Would this be the best environment for an entrepreneur to be risking his or her own revenue in trying to start a business? The answer would be no. Would this be the best time for a young person to work on his CV and start going door to door looking for a job in the private sector? And the answer to that is no as well. But it's an excellent time for those young people to dust off that idea they had or refine that idea they had and see if there is space in the marketplace for them to develop that idea in a way that is of no risk to them.
There are those who believe that the banking system is the best place for entrepreneurs to seek financing for their business ideas. Minister Gonzalez said unlike this source of funding, the Prime Grant doesn't burden entrepreneurs with debt.
You're young and you don't have another source of income. You likely have to start paying back the loan out of the money that you've borrowed. So you borrow $5,000. They tell you have to pay back $400 a month. When the first month comes, you don't have your business hasn't started making a profit yet. You take the $400 out of the very loan that you've borrowed to pay it back, and that's a losing cycle. So we think that any rational player who needs a small amount of money would take a grant over a loan, and we don't want to burden young people with debt from a failed entrepreneurial idea. As I said earlier, some people will try a business and the business will fail. Well, what would discourage them from trying a second business is if they're still paying debt from the first failed idea. If you want to create a sense, a spirit of entrepreneurship in the country, you have to give people the confidence to try and not worry about what if the business doesn't succeed immediately. So all of those are good reasons why we want to go with grants. But furthermore,
the COVID-19 pandemic has brought with it economic difficulties in various sectors, creating job losses among other problems. One industry has, however, been thriving internationally amidst the setback of the pandemic. This industry is the cannabis industry, and its continued growth internationally bodes well for the SVG's medical cannabis industry. SVG-TV's Bhavin Oliver tells us more in this report.
The pandemic has brought several thriving industries to their knees. However, one industry has become a beacon of light during this pandemic. This is the cannabis industry, as internationally sales have skyrocketed. Chief Operation Officer with the SVG Medicinal Cannabis Authority, Tara Mapp, said while the flight restrictions delayed the commencement of operations of some companies doing business with the authority, others continue to forge ahead with their operations.
They have been pushing during COVID. They have been setting up their farms, putting in the fencing, putting in the irrigation system, setting up their greenhouses, producing their baby plants, importing seeds, importing equipment to further develop their farms. There are several entities actually who have commenced cultivation of medicinal cannabis. We have within the list of persons who are cultivating now, not just investor entities, but local cultivators. And right now there are companies who have started, they set up their greenhouses and so forth, and they are producing seedlings and so forth.
CEO of the Medicinal Cannabis Authority, Dr. Gerald Thompson, said a continued positive change in the global opinion on medicinal cannabis and its greater usage is welcomed. He said regulations are already in place, which allows for medication made from medicinal marijuana to treat a range of conditions.
Of the oils, and these oils, as I said, could be droppers. That's a baby dropper under the tongue, and where you swallow, or the oils could be in almost like a cod liver oil tablet where you just swallow it, or the tablets can sometimes be in a nasal spray. Sometimes it can be in a patch, suppositories, or I expect that we have given approval here in St. Vincent for product to also be smoked. Now, we are also a country that has approved what we call infused products. So we do expect in the future that there may be some medicinal drink. Certain companies have already approached us.
Production cost is a very important indicator which will determine sustainability of a product. Dr. Thompson said work is being done to ensure the cost remains low while maintaining a high-quality product, thus taking advantage of the increased global demand.
Our aim is that in St. Vincent, we are able to produce cannabis at a certain price per gram or per pound that is far less than that produced in other countries, but at the same time it meets and surpasses the quality of product that they may be able to produce. So in that way, unlike banana, where we were producing very good quality but the cost of production was very high, and we needed a preferential market, and we needed those things. In relation to cannabis, we may well have a product that has a lower cost of production that still ensures that our local farmers and traditional cultivators are getting their fair share.
For SVG-TV's Evening News, I am Bapin Olver.
The family of the late Corinne Latham Charles is soliciting the assistance from the general public in obtaining any information that will aid with the investigation and lead to the apprehension and prosecution of the offender or offenders in the matter, and is offering a $5,000 reward. Charles, a 35-year-old Port officer of Fairbairn Pasture, was gunned down on Thursday, July 23rd on her way home. The police say they were informed of a female in distress in the community of Fairbairn Pasture with what appeared to be gunshot wounds about her body. The owner of a private vehicle which drove Charles to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital in an earlier interview with SVG-TV News said he and his wife were on their way home when they saw a woman covered in blood alongside the road, gasping for air. He said they picked her up and drove her to the hospital where she subsequently died. Her sister, friends and neighbors spoke highly of the mother of three and asked why someone would want to kill her. They said they would like to see the perpetrator or perpetrators be brought to justice. And the police have arrested and charged Marvin Smart, a 37-year-old sanitation worker of Georgetown, with the offense of wounding. The police say, according to their investigations, the defendant allegedly unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 31-year-old laborer of the same address by chopping him about his body with a cutlass at Georgetown on July 11th. Smart appeared before the Georgetown Magistrate Court to answer to the charge and pleaded not guilty. He was granted bail in the sum of $1,500 EC with one surety. The matter was adjourned to September 21st, 2020. The police have also arrested and charged Karanja Carter, a 31-year-old mason of Grand Bay, Canouan, Ottley Hall, with wounding. The police say their investigations have revealed that the defendant allegedly, unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 33-year-old mason of Happy Hill, Canouan, by cutting him about his body with a switchblade. The incident occurred at Happy Hill, Canouan on May 30th, 2020. The accused was granted station bail and is expected to appear before the Canouan Magistrate Court to answer to the charge on August 12th, 2020. In other news, the National Insurance Services, NIS, said it continues to see an increase in persons delaying the renewal of life certificates, and with the deadline coming up in 3 days' time, an appeal is being made for all pensioners to ensure their life certificate is submitted as soon as possible. NIS Marketing Officer Avia Charles told SVG-TV News that the life certificate ensures payments are made on time and stressed the importance of it being done to avoid delay in payment.
Pension population is currently 8,092 persons. We have 11 pension types. So all of the persons that fall under those pension types encapsulate that amount. However, what we've noted over the last few years is there has been an increase in the amount of outstanding life certificates after the deadline has passed, averaging around 700 or so. And we thought it really important to come and just give persons a gentle reminder to submit their life certificates before or on the deadline. Failure to do so will result in a temporary suspension of their pension payments.
Life certificates are renewed twice per year. Charles said it is important to have the certified document that establishes proof of life and eliminates the risk of paying pensioners who are deceased.
Life certificate can be submitted several ways. Persons can come to our office and complete the life certificate there. They just need to walk along with an identification card. One of our officers will certify that certificate for them. Similarly, if persons cannot make it to our office, they can complete their life certificate at a revenue office or post office that does pension payments for the NIS. the post officer will certify that document. Also, if persons are residing overseas, they can complete and submit their life certificate online. However, that has to be notarized. They can obtain the life certificate from our website, www.nissvg.org, and email it to nis@nissvg.org. So that's why it's important that you submit the life certificate, and that's why we suspend the payment until you can prove to us that you are alive, because we don't want to be paying a pension to someone who has passed away. Now, a death benefit is only paid out when you receive a certificate of death stating that someone has passed away. So once you receive that, then we know that a pensioner has passed away. The individual who is taking care of the funeral arrangements for that person, once they're eligible to receive a death benefit, they would receive that amount, which is $4,525.